fungicide application season in Western Canada right now, and we're talking about how to get the most out of your fungicide investment with Glenn Forrester of BASF. And Glenn, it really starts with correctly identifying the disease and figuring out how to go about preventing a disease from developing in a crop.
Yes, very much so. The agronomy is the key to getting the most out of your fungicide application. I think growers, more and more growers are budgeting in that fungicide application because they're seeing a benefit of it on a more regular basis. The first thing that you want to take a look at is the agronomy and what you're targeting. So, you know, we have this plant. It's a little early in the background for the disease area, but we got this plant here to showcase, you know, what you would be targeting. So earlier on in the season, when you're spraying at that flag leaf, you're really targeting your septoria, your tan spots, your leaf diseases, and you're wanting to get down as far as possible into the canopy. Ultimately, you're trying to protect these flag leaves, the penultimate leaves, because those are the ones that are driving the most of your yield. But by getting further into the canopy, you hold that disease, suppress it lower in the canopy, so that those flag leaf and penultimate leaves stay green for a longer period of time. If you're targeting, say, something like a fusarium head blight application, you know, you're looking at a different target. You're not trying to drive it further into the canopy. You're trying to find, you know, hit a cylindrical vessel or head. So ideally, that's when you move to a two nozzle system, and you're trying to hit both the front and the back of the head, and that's when you're getting the most coverage right on that head. The one thing to think about is, as you're putting the angles on this as this direction and this direction, is you're not penetrating down further into the canopy that much. You might get good protection on your flag, maybe your penultimate leaf, but you're not getting as much of that spray down into the canopy. So, you know, waiting to that fusarium head blight for your first application in a cereal, you know, although might be the best bang for your buck to get good quality, you may be losing some yield potential because you're getting some disease that's creeping up into that penultimate leaf and affecting your crop.
How about water volume wise? What do you recommend? More is usually better?
In general, you can't skimp on water when it comes to a fungicide. The keys to a good efficacy is right timing. Second thing that I look at is water volume. One of the things is coverage. You know, 10 gallons is not that much when you spread it over an entire acre. If you're putting that much on, at the end of the day, you're trying to get as much onto the plants as possible and as deep as into possible. So 10 gallons is registered, and for those growers that are spraying it does provide excellent efficacy. You can get better efficacy with all of your fungicides with the more water volume that you're able to get onto. So encourage you to go out there and get as much as possible. I also know that there's lots of growers that have a lot of acres to cover, so you know, you want to make sure that you get all of your acres covered and not just do 2/3 of your acres with more water volume. So it's kind of finding that right balance of water volume and efficacy for your crop.
So aiming for 15, or what's?
If everybody could get 15, it'd be a positive effect for your fungicide. At the end of the day, 10 gallons does a really good job for all of the products. You may just see, you know, that extra 5 to 10%, and that's what you're really looking for. That extra 5 to 10% efficacy comes from technology, adding a little bit extra water. The products that are out there, like Twinline, Carumba, all of our products are excellent for disease control, and adding some of those other benefits can increase your efficacy overall.
Going back to what you were saying before about targeting the different parts of the plant, that's one of the reasons, I guess, why you could change nozzles depending on what disease you're looking to prevent.
Yeah, it's important to change nozzles accordingly. You know, if you're looking at your pulse crops, your peas, your lentils, or you're spraying a flag leaf, you know, a single nozzle, putting it into the canopy, you're trying to get as low into the canopy as possible on those crops, because a lot of those diseases start from the ground, rain splash up the plant. So protecting as far down as possible is important. Moving to a double nozzle for something like fusarium head blight allows you to get the right application and possible. And little things, even if you're not necessarily willing to go out and buy two sets of nozzles for fusarium head blight, just angling your nozzles forward is also another thing for fusarium head blight, because you're trying to hit that head, which is on an angle, and you will get some wraparound effect by spraying just a single nozzle. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go out and buy new equipment or new nozzles. Just changing the configuration can also improve your efficacy of a fungicide.
So know your agronomy, timing, as high water volume as possible, and then adjust your technology accordingly. Those are kind of the main keys for.
And if you've made that decision to go out and spray a fungicide, go out and spray the best fungicide that's possible, because you will see a benefit. There's lots of new technologies that are out there that provide better efficacy, better yield gains. So going out and just putting a fungicide on is important, but take that extra step and use the best one possible for each of the crops that you're looking at, because that's going to provide you that extra bushel or two in the bin that is really what you're looking for at the end of the day.
All right. Thanks for your time, Glenn.
Excellent.